Hey, Jeff from Devious here. I just thought I'd jump on here and just give everybody a little bit of a heads up on paint and body and sheet metal work and stuff like that. And I usually use this analogy, which is kind of raw, but it's real. I usually say like, hey, when you're a single guy and you go to the bar, and this could go for a girl as well, and you meet somebody at the bar and you take them home, you really don't know what you got until you get them naked. Well, that goes the same thing for a Lincoln or a truck or a car or whatever. You really need to take the paint off of it, get rid of all the body filler or what have you below it, and see what she's got going on. So here's an example of that right here. Have you heard the term rabbit hole? Well, that's what this is. Those little holes there is what we followed down, and we discovered that this thing is pretty bad. Rotted all the way to the hinge pocket and the hinge. So we started by cutting back the fender, top and side, cleaning up everything, and then start making new pieces by hand to replace them. As you see here, tons of hours in this, just building these pieces to get them back in there. Once we get them in place, you can tell that the inner structure is nice and sound. We can go ahead and start putting the factory top panels. And then obviously the hinge pocket needs to be rebuilt as well, which we did. There's several layers on this part here because this is where the weather stripping hits the top down through the door jamb, so it has to be perfect, otherwise the car won't seal correctly. Once we finish, we use a rust inhibitor to seal all the panels before we put the top and side back on, and then we make sure the panels are nice and straight, so when we go to put the door back on, the gaps are correct as well. Next on the step is to run down the fender where somebody had did a previous patch panel and made the gaps incredibly horrible and filled with Bondo. So now we add that piece in, weld it in, and here you see the finished product. So now on the video, I showed you 1/4 of the fender that was damaged and where the hole was in a rabbit hole. Obviously, we use that terminology because there was so much stuff below it. Not every panel is like that. And the rest of this fender was pretty hammered as well. I might throw an extra picture or two in here to show you actually what all the metal shaping we did to the fender to make it look like this. Now you say, well, let's just throw a new fender on there. Well, for Lincolns, those aren't easily accessible, and I searched and searched and searched, and I did find a couple, but they were in worse shape than this car had on it. So I made the decision that we should probably just keep this fender and metalwork it, which we're very capable of doing. Obviously, you can tell. However, you can't find fenders for these cars. So if you do find a fender, you might be fighting the demons that is dealt with a new fender and rust and or whatever damage that had occurred. Once in a while we get lucky and we get to throw a good one on, so that makes it exciting, but these cars are becoming more rare and rare and hard to find parts. I hope you liked the video. I just kind of want to show everybody a little indication of what we do to make these cars back to reality of a clean metal shaped car before we actually put body filler, primer, and paint on them. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me what you think. Appreciate your time.